Okay, so hi, Tom. It's so nice
Hey,
to have you here. We're really looking forward to doing an interview with you today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad to be here and talk with you and about your product and everything gaming today. Looking forward to the conversation.
Well, us too. We're really excited to be able to share a different perspective, talk about gaming and really cyberbullying and what that all looks like in, different areas. And so I'm excited to talk to you as a gaming expert. And I mean, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and about Philly Esports, and let's get to know you a bit.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tom, as it's well been stated. I'm originally from England. I have been over in the US for the last, I'd say around 18 months, really, studying for my master's degree in business. And during my time over here, I've been working with Philly Esports, directing business development. I've really been a gamer pretty much all my life, from a really young age. And I've been exposed to all types of people online. I've made some great friends, and there's also been some people that I am glad to have put on my mute list and remove list and kind of move on from them. I have played almost everything there is out there. My long-term game I've been playing most is World of Warcraft, which a lot of people will know. It's a good game to kind of escape to and just enjoy for a bit, but there is a really toxic side of that game. But yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. Hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about Philly Esports, what Philly Esports does, and yeah, give us sort of an update on it.
Sure. So we started around a couple years ago. We were originally running events in person, a couple colleges around the Philly area for kids mainly. So we would do Rocket League tournaments, we would do Fortnite tournaments, we did Apex Legends and Smash. And then as the pandemic hit, unfortunately, we couldn't do in person anymore. So we eventually transitioned online. Now we focus mainly on collegiate, so college esports through their varsity programs. We also do for-hire events. And then a really cool arm of our business is we do a lot of after-school programming for schools. So we run Mario Kart tournaments, we'll run Minecraft education events, and that's really is a lot of fun, kind of connecting with the kids and guiding them through the start of their gaming journey. Just as it would have been cool to have a Philly Esports when I was a kid, helping me through all that. It would have been really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds amazing. So, I'm really interested in the fact that Philly Esports works with kids in, elementary school and early ages. So talk to me a little bit about how, cyberbullying or toxicity in gaming comes into play. And, do you do an education piece? How do you help kids deal with that right from the beginning?
Yeah, so toxicity and kind of the ugly behavior in esports and gaming is a real sad side of it. And unfortunately, it's something that is going to be a part of most games out there today, because people do get very angry with things, and there's not much of a filter to stop them, really. I've as every other member of staff on the Philly Esports team has definitely gone through a period of being involved with someone being toxic online. There are certain games that are more prevalent for it. If anyone listening or watching knows of League of Legends, that is probably the most toxic game out there. And thankfully, a lot of the games nowadays have mute systems. So I guess the biggest advice I can give to anyone going through the ugly side of gaming and the rude people and the mean people out there is to just mute them right away. Removing them from the game completely, vocally and through text, is one of the best ways to deal with toxicity. Your product as well is going to be an absolutely brilliant tool to help cap that, even if kids forget to mute or the mute comes off. Catching the abuse right away is going to be invaluable. When I was a kid, we grew up, I was the Xbox 360 generation, and we were going into the Call of Duty Modern Warfare lobbies, and that was a real big introduction to toxicity for me. And it's something I'll never forget. People saying some of the worst things you can imagine, because you just were better than them or worse than them at a game. I find toxicity sometimes is worse when you're doing worse, because it really makes you feel bad. Gaming is, for me and for a lot of other people out there, something they used to escape, something they used to just kind of relax, let your hair down, just play through, take your mind off the stresses of the real world. And it doesn't help when people are being toxic on the other end of the headset, the other end of the microphone. It really doesn't want to make you play and enjoy it. So my biggest advice for toxicity is just mute the person, really kind of take them out of the game as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in this pandemic where, I mean, there really is just so much more that we want to sort of disconnect from, and especially kids who, this is a lot for them to handle, being at home and not being able to see their friends, and teenagers who are supposed to be going out and, you know, really experiencing everything that sort of the world has to offer. And their sort of go-to right now is gaming. So, you know, many kids who weren't gaming as much before, or who weren't as into it, are really into it now. And, you know, like you say, it's, you know, go ahead and mute them. And so, I mean, in terms of games that don't have mute, or even just sort of explaining, you know, a little bit of how that works and how to figure it out. Because I'm sure, you know, especially parents who don't have our product don't have that inside look into the toxicity that's happening to their kids online. And so, you know, being able to give them a couple tips in terms of how to do that, where to find it, even just to, you know, have a conversation at the dinner table of, you know, did you know that this was a possibility? We have on our website, we have a toxic behavior series that we're doing right now. And we always share tips in each of the toxic behaviors. And, you know, one of those things always is to sort of mute and remove them from the conversation. But, you know, for something like in Roblox versus in, you know, the most toxic games out there, is it easy to sort of figure out to mute them? Or
it should be fairly simple to find out how to mute anyone. Sometimes there's a bit more, there's a few more steps depending on the game. The best way to do it would be to pause the game, whichever game you're in, and any screen that you can see the team you're with or the person you're talking to. There should be an icon that looks like a speaker, or it should be a little chat bubble or something, and you'll be able to click on that and just mute the person right away. Like you said, there are certain situations where you can't mute someone, and you can't remove them from the game, or you can't get away from them, or maybe you mute them and they come back on another account. And those are some really kind of upsetting situations. At least I've had it myself when I was a younger kid playing games, and you kind of mute someone and then someone else starts, so you have to mute them, and eventually you're playing a game with everyone muted. And at that time, it is the best advice I can say is just to log off, give yourself a 5-minute break, because moderation is something I know as a kid, I never listened to my parents when they were like, just take a second, you're getting upset, like log off, go do something else, and then come back when those other people have moved on. And it's a hard reality for kids to accept, that sometimes the best option is to just log off, is to just take that little break, go for a breather, realize that what these people are saying truly doesn't matter. It's not who people are. It's a complete, people with an anonymity are very open to just saying things, and it's not how people are every day. So that's the advice. If you can't mute them, definitely take a break. We have it even in our case for Philly Esports. We have, when we run programs for kids, we'll have our moderators in the chat. We'll have moderators running the session. They are scanning the chat, making sure that nothing's being said. We use Twitch TV to broadcast all our streams. And we will have a moderator in chat there catching things. So it does happen. Unfortunately, it happens every day. We're only week 2 into our collegiate streams, and we've already had to ban 2 people for just being really rude and getting around the filters that we have set up. So it's an evolving process. But yeah, muting is number 1, and removing yourself from the game if you can't mute is definitely the second advice I can give.
No, I love that. That's a really great tip for sure, to sort of remove yourself when you can't control other people. So, you know, what would you say is, you know, in your opinion, the most prevalent toxicity that you see in gaming?
It's it's retaliation for people doing well, and retaliation for people doing bad. I myself was never a brilliant expert gamer that was at the top of his level, so I would genuinely get abuse thrown at me for being a bad player, and it does affect you. It does hurt your feelings, and it isn't nice to read the comments. But I would say definitely if in a high stress situation, that's probably where it's more prevalent. So games like League of Legends, Call of Duty, Fortnite to some extent, when other people are on high stress and they lose, they tend to lash out with the first thing that's there. And unfortunately, the first thing there is other people in the game. So that is where that's where it's more likely to happen.
And so how serious do you think cyberbullying is as a gamer yourself?
It's huge. It's massive. There were times where I've been cyberbullied all throughout kind of my teenage years from various different people that never knew me, some people that did know me, and it goes beyond gaming as well sometimes, but specifically with gaming, it's an incredibly upsetting thing that happens because it is such a prevalent thing, because people get mad and people lash out, and like I said previously, unfortunately, the people they lash out to are the people that they're playing against or with. They're just looking for someone to blame, and unfortunately, that person ends up being someone else in the lobby that just absolutely didn't deserve it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, like you say, you've experienced cyberbullying, and was this something that your friends were experiencing? Also, did you feel isolated when this was happening? Did you feel like you were able to talk about it? Because so many kids do take it so personally, even though, like you said, you know, you could just be the first person that happens to be there at that time. But it is definitely something that's challenging to not take personally. And then do you find it's different when you do know the people who are lashing out at you in the games?
Yeah. It's much worse when you know the person, because it's someone that you play with, and suddenly that element of this was kind of my safe space, and this is the people that I knew about and the people that I trusted and looked forward to hanging out with. Suddenly that element of safety and security is kind of gone. When I went through cyberbullying and toxicity, you do feel very isolated, because at least in my head, you'd feel very silly for telling people that someone on a game upset you. It's only when you kind of really open up and talk to someone else about exactly what they said and how they said it and how it made you feel that other people can begin to understand. But I know myself as a teenager a few years back, and certainly people today would be reluctant to admit that someone has said something to you in that fashion, especially to parents. And a tool like yours, allowing parents to hear what other people are saying, can really help kind of bridge the gap between the parent and the child, and being able to make sure that you're giving the kids that are playing games today a safe space to talk about things and know that it's, this is judgment free. If you retaliated, it's not okay that you retaliated, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about coping mechanisms. Let's talk about how to really kind of just express your feelings, and let's definitely talk about how to enable the mute button.
Right. No, absolutely. So, and then I guess we definitely want to open up a conversation between parents and children. And that is, obviously a big part of what we do at Kidas. Mm-hmm. But in terms of any advice that you'd have for parents now that you're sort of on the other side of it and not that teenager, in your bedroom playing, any tips that you have for parents to stop themselves from saying, well, forget it. If that's happening, then that's it. You're not gaming anymore. You're not allowed, and it's over. Because many parents just want to protect their kids, but the truth of the matter is, what I'm hearing is that it doesn't really matter how old you are. It's happening to everyone, and running away from it is not going to stop it from happening. So any tips you have for parents to sort of take a deep breath once they get that information and how to respond to their children?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, just last week, I had someone completely rage at me in a game because I missed my shot. And at my age now, I was lucky to just laugh at it and think that is absolutely ridiculous what you just said. But let's move on. For parents, it's really difficult. I'm not a parent myself, but I can understand and appreciate the protect mechanism coming straight in the second they hear their child. Maybe they've walked past their room and they can hear them yelling at someone, or they're trying to defend themselves and upset. It's very quick and easy to just run in, turn the game off. But I think parents nowadays need to really respect that kids are playing games for a reason. It's they want to be there to relax. They want to have fun. They want to progress. And my biggest advice as parents is to really kind of open it up to the kids to talk about it, not force a conversation on it. If they've heard something through your app, or maybe they've heard something being yelled in the hallways or something, is to keep it to yourself. Don't go right away, and allow the child to see how they feel in the next couple of days. I know that because this is what my parents did to me. And I appreciated their approach. You know, if I'm upset about something, what upset you? How did it make you feel? Kind of a full therapy route. What are you feeling from this? How can we help? You know, what do you want us to do? I know kids won't want their parents jumping on the headset to yell back. And I'm glad my parents never did that. But definitely giving the kids a space to be themselves and a space to come to you and talk about these things is the best thing they can do. And just open up an honest conversation like, hey, don't be specific, but you know, hey, I heard that this kind of game gets these kind of things said. You know, has anything ever been said to you? Are you okay? What can I do to help? Just open up a conversation rather than force one. Is my best advice.
Now let's talk about it from the other side. As you say, if you're, walking by someone's room or walking by one of your kids' rooms and you hear something that's going on in the game. So let's talk about it from the other side. If you walk by and you hear your child being toxic towards other children in gaming, or you hear from other parents that your child is, being toxic in games with their children. We always want to make sure as parents that we're also doing our part to, no different than if you get a call from the principal and hear that your child's bullying someone at school. Now we're at home and many people are at home and don't have the benefit of not even the benefit, but sort of eyes on your kids, whether it's teachers or the principal or whoever else. What can we do as parents to, talk to our children about it from the other perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go for parents and also teammates. A lot of this toxicity and ugliness does come in team games. There'll often be 5-on-5, 3-on-3. There'll be maybe 4-on-4. So from both teammates and as a parent, is you really need to make the child aware of the implications of what they are actually saying. You don't really know how the other person on the other end is feeling that day. They could have felt really great and they've come on and it's their first game and now they're not going to play anymore and they don't know what to do, or they're just about to log off and they thought, I'll get one more game in, and it's really crushed their spirits. Either way, whatever that'll happen is that person is going to feel worse than before they played the game. So I think, again, opening a conversation and really being quite, I don't want to use the term firm, but be very straightforward in the fact that this behavior is not okay. Like, this will hurt people, really kind of try and flip it around into how would you feel if someone spoke to you this way? How would you respect the person that's talking to you in that manner? What would you want to happen? I feel like really closing down that behavior is something that needs to happen and is often missed. I think a lot of parents, this is again just my personal opinion, but a lot of parents from people that I've played with don't shut that behavior down quick enough. And at least try to help them out of it. And I think, opening a conversation again and just being very clear that the behavior is not okay. I'll play games and my teammates will start to be toxic towards the other team, or they'll be toxic towards our other teammates. And I just always send a quick message in the chat like, hey, just quit it. It doesn't matter. It's just a game. You don't need to talk like that. Stop what you're doing because it's not nice.
Yeah, for sure. And that's such a hard thing for a lot of kids to do. The same way, like they witness it on the playground at school, and, parents and teachers are always talking to kids about standing up for each other. I think that's really amazing, helpful advice to remind kids that they should be standing up and they don't have to, make a big scene out of it, but to just send a message when it's happening to their teammates to say, it's enough, don't do that, stop, is a really impressive thing for kids to do. And also speaks volumes about what they want their team to look like and what they, stand for in gaming.
Especially in the competitive scene as well, because a lot of kids, they will play, and sometimes they're toxic and they put everything on the line, and sometimes those kids will make it professional, and they have to remember that kind of throughout any stage in life there is a code of conduct to stick to. There are certain ways you can talk to people, and there's certain things you can say. Of course there are limits for certain type of trash talk. In some games, trash talk is a way of life, and jousting, banter back and forth with the opposing team is part of life. But there are certain limits to what you can and can't say, and I think that if you're hearing your teammate be a little toxic and you're hearing your kid be a little toxic, but from what your point of view you think that's kind of just banter, you can kind of just check in with them and be like, hey, look, it's okay if you're just bantering, but there's limits that we need to put on what you should and shouldn't say, because it really does set a precedent for their later lives, college applications, getting into a team, future jobs. If they think that toxicity is okay, at that point, they'll carry it all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of Philly Esports and the after school programs that you do, when you do see, or do you have a dedicated time to educating kids about cyberbullying? Or, is it something that you just deal with on the spot? How does that come into play?
So with the kids that we deal with high school children, and at the moment, I think it's middle school children. At the moment, we haven't had any toxic behavior. I think the reasoning why we haven't is because we have 2 or 3 staff members from our side, and then we also have people from the school there. So it is almost still like it's almost like a school trip. So they're on their best behavior, but it is something that we have spoken about with the teachers. We've spoken about toxic behavior and pupils being mean. So one of the things we put in place was removing the anonymity for the students. So when they join our games, they have to join under their full name. So no one can be saying anything sneakily. And then when the teacher asks, who was this person? They don't get the opportunity to sit there and be quiet. So that was our first immediate thing. And then, like I said, we always have someone watching. We'll have someone leading them through the content, someone there to help them with any questions. So we're really trying to create a friendly, open environment that doesn't put any stress on the students. So it's not like any toxic behavior can even come from it, really.
Right. Well, that actually also speaks volumes that you say that they have to use their full name, which sort of leads me to the question of why is it that you think that there is so much cyberbullying? Do you think it's because they're not using their real name and they can sort of be whoever they want to be, or do you think that's all of it, or do you think there's more behind it?
I think that is 99% of the reason the cyberbullying and toxicity exists, is because kids and adults, I've heard it from adults too, are given this veil of anonymity where they just choose a gamer tag, they just choose a handle, and they're gone. No one knows who they are. No one, unless you're good with computers, can find out where you are. I think it gives kids a real ability to just feel like, well, no one knows who I am. I'm just going to say exactly what I want, exactly when I want, and I will not get in trouble for it. Which is dangerous. Which is dangerous. I respect that kids need their privacy and they need their anonymity, and I don't want to take it away from them ever. But having no repercussions for toxicity is a worrying side of gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been really amazing. Anything else sort of you want to touch on in terms of toxicity and bullying? Anything that you think we missed?
There's actually, you asked great questions. There was nothing really I felt was unsaid. Just that it happens, unfortunately, and it will continue to happen. But there are things coming out. Your product's a great example of it, that will begin to curb it and will begin to make sure that clear and easier, and keep everyone happy, really.
And in terms of how our followers can engage with Philly Esports, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So we are live every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch TV. /Philly ESports, where we are streaming Rocket League and Smash for the collegiate scene. We also are posting daily things on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn a lot. I'm on LinkedIn as well, which is Tom Screech. We have an info email. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to my email. I will give you all that information to put wherever you wish. But we are always open for a conversation about anything you guys need with esports, training, professional development, anything. We're here to help in an esports capacity. I can't build you a house, but I can help you with esports.
In a game, maybe, but not
in a game. I could build you a nice Minecraft house. I can build a nice Minecraft house, but that's it.
Well, this has been really wonderful. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your insights with us. It sounds like you guys are doing some amazing stuff, and we hope to have the opportunity to work with you again soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.